It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish, and I'm actually the founder of this program. I'm excited about today's program. I'm going to be introducing you to one of our hosts on the Divas That Care, Laura Harrison. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to any of her programs, you definitely need to do that. She does this amazing podcast on the Divas That Care network with a partner of hers, and the program is great, and I really, truly believe everybody needs to check it out. But if this is your very first time listening to the Divas That program, I want to give a big shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Divas That Care network has been around now for 10 years. We have a variety of amazing hosts that are on our program. And you know what? I just get so excited when I'm able to chat with our hosts that are now on our program, but to chat with a whole bunch of other amazing women that are around the world. So I want you guys to make sure you check that out at divasthatcare.com. As I said, today's program is going to be awesome. Laura Lee is absolutely fantastic. And you know what? I can't wait for her to share her story with all of you today. So I'm going to get started right away. Welcome to the program, Laura Lee. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate being here.
Oh, my goodness. I'm beyond excited. You know, I listen to your guys' program all the time, and I absolutely love it. And I love what you're doing. You know, I try to keep up with you on social media, and, you know, I want to keep up to date with the things that you're doing. And, you know, and I was really excited when I learned that you actually just wrote a book. So I want to talk about that today, too. But before we kind of dive into that, would you mind spending, you know, a couple of moments here just sharing a little bit about yourself with all of our listeners today?
So I am Laura Lee Harrison. I live in Langley, British Columbia. I moved out here last year in April. I moved back to BC, and honestly, that was the best thing that I've probably ever done for myself, because life has changed so much in the last year and a bit. So, I'm out here. I'm a sole parent to a 5-year-old, and I have multiple businesses that I run and more that are happening and other things that just keep on coming to me. So I have a social media agency. As you already said, Candace, I do have a podcast, The Women's Exclusive, which we also have a magazine called The Women's Exclusive as well, and it's a boudoir empowerment magazine for women. I'm also a makeup artist, and I've been published internationally in magazines around the world, and a writer as well in other forms. I write for Brainz Magazine, and I write copy for people, and so I have a lot going on, that's for sure, and I'm just launching a new business and, like you said, a new book.
Oh, my goodness. You are absolutely a multitasker. You know, I get a kick out of that because, you know, isn't that what it's all about? You know, being a mom, you seem to juggle so much in your lives, you know, not just your children, but, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, your businesses and everything else. And you've definitely done that, and you've done it very well. One of the questions I do have is, what made you decide to move during a pandemic to another province? You know, a lot of people are like, what?
No, I was actually already out here. I moved last
April,
you moved
2019.
Out the year
before? Okay. I thought you had moved out this year. So I was thinking, oh, my goodness, that's a lot to take on your plate. But you had already been out there for a year. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, and yeah. I love BC. I try to get out there as much as I can. It's such a beautiful place, and Langley is definitely a gorgeous place. And you're building an entire business out in that area. How are you finding that? You said you were really enjoying being back there. And I know that you mentioned before we had started our program that you're actually expanding one of your other businesses into that area and growing that. How is that working out for you?
Yeah, well, this is a really cool thing. So Gabriella Cruz Photography is my business partner's business, and we met April 2019, just before I moved here, and I started working with her on the business. And so I grew her business with her over that time frame, and then in March, we decided to join forces and become business partners, and that's when we built the other businesses that we currently have. So she has decided to expand to BC. And so I am going to be running the Gabriella Cruz Photography out here with her. Obviously, she'll be a big part of it, but I'll be doing the day-to-day stuff and on the photo shoots and doing the makeup. I also am trained in massage, so our clients get massages first. So I'll do massage and then hair and makeup, and then I'll be there to help out through the whole shoot. But the business that I'm launching as well really was inspired because GCP is coming out here, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, but I just never did. And so I've created another company, and it's called Divinely Confident Studio. And I'll be providing luxury in-home services, makeup, hair, massage, just updos, not like hair cutting or anything. And I'll have contractors that are going to work with me and with the studio. And then that'll help me if I can't do hair and makeup for GCP. I'll have contractors, but then also I can contract them out to other areas, other people. And then we do have a studio now. So right in beautiful White Rock, 5 minutes from the beach. And it's so exciting because that has been on my vision board for years. So that's so exciting that my office space in the studio is going to be right there. So I'm really, really excited about that. So that's kind of how that kind of played out. And it just happened. It's just, we're in flow and things are just happening. It's the coolest thing.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. You know, what a great thing to be able to do. I think all of us are listening to you and like, oh, I wish I could do that. I think about right now, I'm looking outside my window and I see snow, and I was like, oh, I'd rather be out there. I'd rather be seeing the views that you're seeing for sure. And that kind of leads me, you and I have known each other for quite a few years now. We've through different things that we've done. And, when you started being a host on the Divas That Care Network, I was beyond grateful because I knew that you were exactly what we were looking for with our program and what you could offer so many individuals out there from confidence. And I think that's what your show is really about, is sharing with people and letting them know that they could be absolutely amazing with who they are. And then with your magazine and all that, it really shows that confidence that you are portraying. And now that kind of leads me into your book that you wrote. Tell us about that. I think that's...
Yeah. Well, the book, it's a really cool experience. I guess I just want to say, like, before I jump into the book, something that has happened, like if people are watching me on social media, people are telling me, they're contacting me and they're saying, like, something just shifted. Something happened in the last month, and things have changed. Like you've changed a bit, not in a bad way. Like you've just shifted, and that's what I'm getting right now. And I just want to say why, because this is really important to, GCP expansion a little bit, but definitely Divinely Confident Studio and my rebrand for Laura Lee Harrison and the book, specifically the book. So. Something triggered something in me about a month ago, and I started doing feminine energy work. I started learning about my feminine energy and applying my feminine energy to my life, because I am so much in my masculine, always going and doing and creating, and I felt stuck for about 2 years, especially with my brand Inspired by Laura. I felt really stuck. And it just wasn't happening. And so I was putting all my attention into other people's businesses or other things and never growing that aspect of myself. And then when I started doing the feminine energy work, a switch happened. It's been the coolest experience to just have this flow and this downloading happening. And so right after I started this, I was sitting on my couch in my living room after I dropped my son off at school, and I started to meditate. And then this thing just popped into my head, which was a book title, and I was like, oh, okay. And I got up and I wrote it down. And then another book title came into my head. I got up and wrote it down. And I laid back down, and I went back into my meditation. And the way I explain it, it's not a very nice way to explain this, but you know when you feel like you're going to puke, how like that just comes up in you? That's exactly what happened with the words. And I wrote the book right then and there. It took me 5 minutes, jotted it down, the book was done. And then my dear friend Daphne McDonough introduced me to the lady that's now my publisher, and everything has just been flowing. And then I made a post, and a girl from my high school was like, oh, my cousin does illustrations, here you go. And I met with her, and it just has been flowing so effortlessly and so perfectly. There's, pre-sales are already going through, and the book is just happening. And I've got 2 more written already. It's going to be a whole series, so I'm planning on getting the whole series done this year with all the major holidays as a book, and each one will launch at that holiday, and then or before the holiday, and then a few in between as well. So the book is called Kooky Kitty. And Christmas last year, I bought my son a cat for Christmas. And this cat is absolutely insane. I've never experienced anything like it. And so the book is based on us and our lives. It's a preschool read, though, so it's pretty simple. And my illustrator is doing such an amazing job creating Kooky Kitty. So,
oh my gosh, that is so crazy that it just all came to you. And you're going to have to probably explain to some of our listeners about what the feminine energy is and all that, because some people might be confused about that.
Yeah. So I'm definitely no expert in feminine energy, and actually, I hope this is okay to say, I actually do have a master class with a woman that does feminine energy teaching. It's a free master class. It's on the 10th, oddly enough, the same day my book launches. So I do have that, and if anyone's listening to this beforehand and they want to reach out to me and join the free master class, you're more than welcome to join, because you're definitely going to get more information there than from me. But
oh, perfect.
We are raised in a masculine world, a masculine energy world, and the masculine energy is doing and pursuing and going after, but really in pursuit of all the time. And feminine energy is creation. It is creation. We are here to create. That's what our bodies do. We create life. And so when we're in our creative feminine energy flow, that just opens us up a lot more. And because we're all living in our masculine all the time, it actually can stifle our creation. We need our masculine energy to be able to take care of our kids and our households, and men are feminine, have feminine energy and masculine energy. We all have both. But we're all living in a masculine energy world. And so when you're able to tap into that feminine energy, especially if you're feeling stuck, that's just going to ignite more in you, and things take off and things change and things happen for you from a creation standpoint. And then you need to, nurture and grow.
Well, and what a great thing. I said, I love that. And to have that creativity just flow out of you. You knew that there was something wrong and that you needed to trigger that. And I think that's what I love when I listen to you, and I listen to some of our other guests too. It's like there's something that all of a sudden that you need to do. And once you do it, everything happens, right? And and I think that's what I found with myself too. I always got those big knocks, right? I'm like, oh, a radio program. I would never want to do something like that. And then you keep on getting those knocks. It's like, okay, I got to do that. And these things happen for a reason to us. And look at you now. You've got all this stuff happening in your life, and you're inspiring so many people, Laura Lee. And, I want to thank you for doing that, because I love it when I hear strong women that are inspiring and they're caring. And these books that you've created sound so awesome. I wish my kids were at that age that they would enjoy something like that. But obviously my kids are a little bit older now, and that's not for them. But that these books can inspire so many others is just, I love that.
Yeah, it's been a really overwhelming week, to be honest. Like this, as we were talking beforehand, I was blessed to have a night alone, and I live with a lady here in Langley, and she's taking care of my son overnight. And so I had a night alone, and that night couldn't have come at a better time, because the week has been so overwhelming in a really good way, but I just wasn't expecting this book. I wasn't expecting it. And so the support and the outreach on it really took me. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And then, and now I have another book already totally different than Kooky Kitty. It's just coming, and I'm like, I think writing might be my life purpose. And I wrote an article 2 weeks ago, I think, or a week and a half ago, for Brainz Magazine. A guy I know out here, he did a short film, and it's a brilliant short film on what's happening in the world with racism, and it really provides a different take on color. And so I wrote this article and published it, and from that article, someone has actually asked me to potentially write their memoir for them, and I'm like, what is happening? This is so cool. I don't know if it's going to happen. It'll be I assume I'll be ghostwriting it, but I definitely just, this calling seems to happen. And it's so funny, because in 2017, someone said to me, oh, you should join this anthology, Sacred Hearts Rising. And I laughed at them. I said, no way. And part of me, I'm going to swear, I literally said, nobody gives a shit about my story or me. And she was like, okay, she just backed off. And then the next day, another friend of mine said, you have a story to share, and you might save someone's life by sharing your story. You should share your story. So I decided to dive in, and I did it. And it was the most traumatizing thing I'd ever experienced, writing my story in this chapter. And then I did it again the next year, and I had a really beautiful, it was a bad story to write about, but I had a really beautiful writing experience. And then everything just kind of unfolded from there. So I'm really amazed at that particular journey of writing my first chapter, Sacred Hearts Rising, to like what's happening now, and how fun it is, and how much I really love it. And people ask me, well, what's your writing process? And I'm just like, I just write. When I'm inspired and I feel it, it just flows out of me. There's no, if I try to force it, then I can't do it. But if I'm just like, oh, hey, that's a good topic, and I write, it's just done. Like the article that I put in the newsletter, I think it took me like 5 minutes to write. And then I just refined it. It just flowed.
I think that's amazing. And I love that about you. Have you, well, I know that COVID-19, this whole year, 2020, has been, a lot of people have been really struggling, on so many emotional levels. How are you seeing that with everything that you're doing? Because I know you are busy and you've got a lot on your plate and you're doing stuff, but you are surrounded by a whole bunch of different individuals. How are you feeling? Like, how are you working with these individuals? How are you helping them through that, the transitions that I think a lot of people are going through? And what are you seeing 2021 going to look like?
Well, my heart goes out to people that are struggling with COVID, and it's definitely not easy, and I've had my moments. But COVID for me has personally, and I don't say this to take anything away from anyone, COVID for me has been a blessing. I'm an introvert. A lot of people don't know that, and a lot of people are like, no way, you're so outgoing. But I'm such an introvert, and I absolutely hate, and I don't say that word very often, but I really dislike conforming to everybody else's ideal. So the pressure to go out into the world and do the things the way everyone else says that I should do it, I really dislike. And so COVID has just allowed me to soar because it's acceptable for me to stay home. And in fact, it's not even acceptable. It's, I'm supposed to by law at this point. So it's allowed me to just really spread my wings and soar and not be worried about what everybody else in the world thinks about me. So COVID's been really beautiful for me and my introverted self. And the people around me, I do my best to, help them see. I do a lot of mindset work on myself all the time. I'm always reading. I'm always listening to podcasts. I'm always listening to audiobooks. I'm always on YouTube lists, just filling my brain with things. And I do see that going out to the people around me. I do see that has started to affect them in a positive way, where they're starting to dabble in little things here and there where they're looking at stuff, not as much as I do, but I am noticing that growth for other people, and I think it really helps them. And I don't tell them, oh, hey, you should do this, you should do that. I just do it, and they naturally are curious and kind of join in because they're watching me and they're seeing the growth and they're seeing what's happening, and I talk about the mindset stuff all the time, and so I hope that I can help people. Sorry.
No, I love it, and I'm going to agree with you there, Laura Lee, because I've kind of felt the same way. There's definitely been moments that I'm like, oh my goodness, I crave the people. In a lot of ways, I've always been an introvert, and I've craved the people in just little bits, right? I could see them and then go back home. But yeah, for us too, and within my family, it's brought us closer together. And now the Divas That Care had started because I was inspired by my children. I have 4 divas, and my oldest daughter has now joined the Divas That Care as a big inspiration, and she's actually our technical person now. And it's because of the COVID-19 that has brought this as a family unit together. So I completely see that aspect and how this can it's very hard on some people, and it's very good for others. And it is. I think that's the balance of life, is that we need to have things like this in order to really figure out who we are too. And obviously it's really done that for you with everything that you're doing. So as I said, I'm so excited about that. But one thing I want to ask before we end our show, is there any tips, tools, things that you can share with our listeners today?
Yeah, I definitely think that tapping into your mindset and doing the work, especially right now, or anything, we have the time right now, even if we're still a little bit busy because society isn't locked down like it was at the beginning. But this is the time right now to be, creating something different for yourself. Even if you're taking baby steps and diving into a podcast here and there that's about positivity or mindset, or if it's, maybe feminine energy or confidence boosting things, or just it doesn't matter as long as you're feeling good. Maybe it's even understanding what makes you feel your best and doing that more. So for me, I love to sing and dance while I cook dinner and stuff like that. And so I do that almost every day, and that just makes me feel good. And me and my son have fun with it. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that you can do right now to help yourself get through these hard times and to help yourself create something different in life, is to really tap into those things that make you feel amazing and feel good. And if you're like, oh, well, I don't really know what does that for me, then think about when you were a child. what did you love to do when you were a child? Were you crafty? Did you sing? Did you play guitar? Did you play piano? Whatever it was, soccer, basketball, like whatever you got like this almost a high from, or just like a natural high from, just felt really good, really, you felt whole while doing it. Do more of that. And then incorporate it with your children if you have children. But do more of that. And that, even that tiny little step is going to make the world of a difference for your life and creating something different. And just accepting where we are in the world right now. Because when we can be alone, like a lot of people are lonely right now, and now we're at the holidays, which is even worse. But there's loneliness, and then there's being alone. And being alone is a powerful thing. So when you can accept that you don't need other people, and you can accept who you are and be alone, you're going to be able to conquer the world. You'll just have better confidence. You'll show up better in the world, everything.
I love that advice. I love that tip. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today, Laura-Lee.
You're welcome.
Oh, my goodness. I've had fun. I love it. As I said, you are so inspiring, girl. I just have such a great time when I talk to you. You know, for all of our listeners today, make sure that you check out Laura-Lee Harrison. I'm going to be posting all of her social media. I'll be posting different information about her book because I think it's really important to check that out also. But, you know, go check out her podcast. Go check out the magazine. You know, go check out her website and those beautiful photos that they are doing out there. As I said, you are just so empowering for women out there. And thank you for everything that you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing as well.
Well, we definitely are creating things together, and I'm excited to have you back on our program in the future when you're sharing some more information about your upcoming books that you're going to be doing and anything else that you're going to be doing, because I think that's really great. I know that your magazine is absolutely extraordinary, so I definitely want our listeners to go and check that out too. You know, a big shout out to all of our listeners. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this. You know, we are listened to in over 30 countries around the world. All of our amazing hosts want to thank you also. Because of all of you sharing these programs that we are listened to, and we are empowering women out there. So thank you again to my amazing guests. Thank you to all of our listeners. I hope that you all have a fantastic day, and make sure that you do something kind for somebody out there. Take care for now.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.